Welcome to a fresh new series of tutorial. In this series we are going to be talking about Revit architecture. My name is AppGPT, and if this is your first time coming across my videos, do well to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you will get updated with subsequent video uploads. In this channel we take various architectural softwares. We make sure we explain it to a newbie and follow up until they are perfect in whatever software they choose. So we have a couple of softwares ranging from AutoCAD, SketchUp, Lumion. Those are the ones I'm about to mention. The rendering software, Lumion, B5, Twinmotion, and the rest. But for this series, we are strictly dealing with Revit architecture. And our course outline, our complete course outline, has to do with Module 1 up to Module 20, and Module 1 is Introduction to BIM and Revit. Module 2 is Revit Interface and Navigation. Module 3 Project Setup and Templates. Module 4 Basic Architectural Modeling. Module 5 Doors, Windows and Openings. Module 6 Advanced Modeling Tools. Module 7 Floors, Walls and Roof Assemblies. Module 8 Site Modeling and Topography. Module 9 Families and Components, very important. Module 10 Views and Documents. Module 11 Annotation and Detailing. Module 12 Schedules and Quantities Number. Module 13 Sheets, Titles, Title Blocks and Printing. Module 14 Visualization and Rendering. Module 15 Facing and Design Options. Module 16 Collaboration and Work Sharing. Module 17 Advanced Documentation and Standards. Module 18 Interoperability. Module 19 Construction Documentation, Professional Level. Module 20 Real World Project. Then we have bonus modules, optional and powerful. That's Revit for high-rise buildings, Revit for interior design, Revit tips, tricks, productivity hacks, common errors and how to avoid them, Revit interview and office test preparation, and so on and so forth. Alright, that's all we are going to be looking at in this series. So that is why you have to be a subscriber so you don't miss out on any video upload. Alright, without wasting much of your time, let's head right into what we have for today. So in Module 1, Introduction to BIM and Revit. First of all, what is BIM? BIM simply means Building Information Modeling, and the softwares that run BIM, example of such is Revit architecture. We have AutoCAD as well, we have SketchUp as well, we have Cinema 4D, we have 3D Max and the rest. Now, prior to BIM softwares, there were other softwares known as CAD softwares, which if you can recall, there is the AutoCAD, which was widely used for architecture and engineering. The difference between BIM softwares and CAD softwares is the fact that CAD softwares deal strictly on 2D elements and objects, so you can only output or work on your project in 2D formats, whereas BIM softwares enables you to work in a real world scenario. It helps you to visualize what you are drawing in a 3D form, just as what you are seeing on the screen. I can choose to hold on. Let me switch off the boundaries. I can choose to rotate this project in the real world. It's not complete, still working on it. So this is the purpose of BIM software. It helps you see your project in real time, whereas in the 2D interface you can't see your project like this. You only see lines, and that's it. This is basically what you can see in CAD softwares. So I hope that explains itself. And there are so many advantages and disadvantages of there are so many advantages of the BIM softwares over the CAD softwares. That is what I meant to say. Now let's go into the Revit interface overview. As you can see, let me quit this and quit this. Now let me go to the Revit interface overview. Save changes. What you are seeing on screen is when a document is open, but I want to close it and then let's start. Let's see the welcome screen and make some introduction to it before we go into documents proper. Now, as soon as you launch your Revit software, this is what pops up. This will be where recent projects will be all lined up, and if you are just installing the software, you're not going to have any recent projects. Rather, you're going to have the pre-installed custom projects that come with the software. Now below you will see some families, exactly typical, something like this. Then beside here you will see these options. There is for the models, open and new, and there's for the family you have open and new. So we're going to look into this later on. For newer versions there are other options here and so on and so forth. Alright, so this is basically what you see. This is the welcome screen to every Revit interface once it is launched and it's properly launched. Now your system requirements that will enable you use Revit effectively without any lags and inconveniences is you must make sure that you have a minimum of 4 gig RAM and a minimum storage capacity of 250 gig SSD storage or 500 gig HDD storage. HDD storage is no more in vogue, so I would advise that you go for SSD. And if you are working on it, you are getting a system on a budget, it shouldn't be less than 4 gig RAM, else you're going to be experiencing various challenges when it comes to viewing and switching into 3D views, navigating and the rest of the things. It might work, but when the project becomes heavy, when it compiles up, because it moves from a lesser level, from simple level to a more complex level as the project is being completed in your BIM software. So it gets heavier as it adds up. So your RAM has to should have enough storage to handle the weight of all the additions so far. Alright, so that's it for that system requirement. Then if you want to go into rendering with Revit architecture, I think you should be having a graphics card in your system, whether it's desktop or laptop. So your graphics card should be a minimum of 2 gig NVIDIA or 4 gig of any of the rest, Radeon, and how do there are other graphics that AMD and the rest. So that's ahead. There is also Intel. Your graphics memory should be high in those areas. Alright, so now Revit file types. There are 4 Revit file types that any of these file types can open in Revit. And how do you know the type? Let me show you. If you go to your documents, you see that at the end of every Revit document you see RVT. So now that's one Revit file type. Now there is RFA, which symbolizes Revit family. I don't know if I have it here. There is RFA, which symbolizes Revit family. I'm trying to see if I have any file with the extension RFA. I think one of these should be having that extension. So for Revit family, you see RFA. Then there is also RTE. RTE is also a format that can open in Revit. Also, there is IFC. IFC is the last one. IFC is the format that can open in Revit and can exist as a Revit component if properly worked on. So that is it. Now, when you want to let's move into the next one. Starting a new project. When you want to start a new project in Revit, once it is properly launched and you see your welcome screen like this, all you can do is go to models and click on new. If you click on this new, you are going to start a family, not a project. But if you are clicking on this new, you are starting a new project. So clicking on that, it will bring up this dialog box. Now it's bringing up this dialog box for you to specify what you want. First of all, we are working on a new project, not a template. A template is a pattern, it's a customized work environment that you have selectively tuned, you have fine-tuned to suit easy progress of your drafting of your modeling from scratch to finish for a particular type of project. Say for example, for every interior project you have a template for it. For every working drawing project you have a template for it. For every strictly modeling project you have a template for it. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you, what templates are. So if you want to create a template for a particular project, you can click on templates and create it first. But for the meantime, you don't know anything about Revit, let's assume, and if you know, maybe it's not that advanced. So let's go with the new project for the meantime. Then subsequently we will explain how to go about the templates and the rest of the things. Alright, so the next thing you have to check is your template, the one you are using. So there is imperial multidiscipline and there is metric multidiscipline. Now, depending on the region where you are working, if you are in the western, if you are in the metric region, in the region where the metric system is predominant, you can use metric. But if you are in the US, the UK and the rest of those regions where the imperial system is dominant, you should use imperial. But for the sake of this tutorial, we are going to be using metric. Alright, now that's how, when you are done selecting this, you can go ahead and click OK. But before you click OK. If you have other templates that you have already fine-tuned, or you have templates you copied from a friend and stored, you could just choose to check the template gallery and go to where you copied your templates. Maybe you put them in a file. You just copy the templates. Maybe let's assume, let me see if I have the templates here. The templates. Let's see. Alright, this is a template, and let's see the file extension, what it says like. Okay, it's just Revit template. So you could copy that template. Just assuming you copy the template from a friend, you come to Revit and then you paste it here. So that anytime you want to draw, your template will be handy. It's just there. OpenG template version, that's the name of the template I copied. You could rename it to anyone you want, but I already have my default template. Let me show you. Where is my templates? Oh, I think I have not copied it here. But however, so clicking on that and saying OK changes the name here to that template version. So as you can see, the extension is RTE. Remember the types of file, the formats we talked about. There's RVT, there's RTE, there's IFC, and there is the last one. What's the last one? RFA. So RVT is a model file, RFA is a family file, as in these ones. RTE is a template file, and IFC is a model file, kind of like an object. So we are done. Click on OK. It opens a fresh new Revit interface. Okay, now this, what you're seeing on screen, is the fact that my template was made in a previous version, which is Revit 21. So that is why it is upgrading from 21 to 24, but it has nothing to do with your project. Your project is going to be saved in the current version that you are using, and your template still remains in the version in which it was created in. So you have nothing to panic. It's not going to replace your templates here. All right, now while we are giving it time to load, we can see that launching Revit is pretty easy. There is no hidden trick or clumsy approach to launching Revit. It's as easy as ABC. All you need to do is double click on the icon. I didn't show you that part, but just look for the icon on your screen and double click, or you right click and say open. That's how it gets to that welcome screen you initially saw. So this is my workspace. What you are seeing on screen now is just a cover page that is done from my template, the template I used. So I might have to drop the template in the description below, so in case you want to read it. The template is strictly for architecture and exterior, not interior, mind you. All right, that's that. Let's begin to explore the workspace and understand its workflow. If you notice, we have the first row of commands, we have the second row of commands, we have the third one, and we have this at the left side and this at the right side. This is called the properties, this is called project browser. Then this is called the ribbon. The totality of it is called the ribbon, and below it we have categories. We have subcategories of the main categories, and then we have some major commands that are at the top. Also, if you notice, the subcategories are blurred out because we are in the file main category and we are not in our drafting space. So we call the whole of this ribbon, we call the property tab, we call this project browser, and call this our workspace. That's all you need to know. And in our next tutorial, we are going to do a proper breakdown of the interface. We are going to navigate on it one after the other. We are going to look at the user interface breakdown. We are going to look at the project browser, the properties palette, the view control bar, the navigation tool, the selection tool and filters, keyboard shortcuts, and best practices. Alright, if you have watched this tutorial up to this point, do well to hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that you get updated when I drop the next video. I hope you learned something. Share this to a friend, share this to a mentor, a mentee, a family, and all those you feel you need an upgrade in their BIM or in their architectural engineering skills. My name remains ArcGPT, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.